Good morning and welcome to your RTI review session. The purpose of this short video is to review some of the major concepts you learned today and provide you with a bit more background information on RTI, how it connects to the learning sciences, and what some of the major concerns are from the field regarding its implementation. RTI is a three-tier model in which students are separated into groups based on assumed percentages of students in each category who need limited to no review of the skills or knowledge being learned, need moderate intervention in increasing their learning about the topic, or need a great deal of teacher intervention to help get them back on track. One of the most important aspects of this model is the process by which educators within a school determine and identify students within each of these categories. Significant importance should be placed on the identification, reteaching, scaffolding, and reassessing aspects, some of which you saw today during our group's work session with you. This is perhaps the most advantageous aspect of the RTI model for producing positive results. It is the very simple fact that it is a very deliberate process. So what was response to intervention a response to? The RTI framework was initially designed as an alternative to the ability achievement discrepancy model, which requires children to exhibit a difference between their ability, typically measured by IQ scores, and academic achievement, typically measured by grades and other standardized test measures. With the reauthorization of the Individuals with Disabilities Education Improvement Act of 2004, the traditional over-reliance on IQ testing for special education identification was alleviated by allowing states to adopt alternative models for identification. Proponents of RTI point to the fact that the tired method of solving student learning problems by referring students out of the classroom to special education services has become a thing of the past. It has also provided a renewed focus on the forgotten goal of student learning as opposed to state and federal compliance concerns. So how does this all connect to some of the learning sciences theory? RTI acknowledges that each student has his or her own learning pace and style. While differentiating instruction for all students in a class can be a formidable challenge, at the same time, teachers need to take into account what students already understand and what they still need to work on. As you probably remember, the zone of proximal development, coined by Lev Vygotsky, describes the area where instruction is most beneficial for each student, beyond his or her current level of independent capability. The ZPD is defined as the distance between the actual development level as determined by independent problem solving, and the level of potential development as determined through problem solving under adult guidance or in collaboration with more capable peers. ZPD can be seen as what a student can do independently and what he or she is capable of doing with targeted assistance or scaffolding. In line with RTI, the concept of ZPD is essential to helping teachers differentiate and target instruction to ensure that all students are progressing and meeting the standards at an appropriate pace. Locating a student's ZPD requires a close examination of each student as an individual learner, and teaching in the ZPD involves scaffolding that fits for these learners. Additionally, RTI connects quite strongly to achievement goal theory. Through the mastery approach, or a focus on the development of competence, RTI expects to achieve positive results. We know from some of the research we've looked at that oftentimes, as competence increases, motivation will also correspondingly increase. So there are concerns regarding the RTI model. Some of them are that there is no one agreed upon curriculum, instructional methods, or even measurement tools that have appropriate or adequate technical quality. A secondary concern is the effectiveness of RTI as a method for identifying students with disabilities. Again, there is no empirical support to aid in the identification of students with disabilities. There is also no consensus on the definition of empirically based approaches for RTI. Other concerns include no empirically supported literature to support the determination of a response or a failure to respond by students. What this means is that how do you actually measure that a student is responding to the intervention, or how do you measure how a student is not responding to an intervention? There are also no agreed upon teacher training standards or supervision methods to ensure that the interventions are carried out with appropriate or adequate integrity. Others have said RTI is nothing more than a model of diagnosis by treatment failure, which has long been proven to be a poor model in other fields such as medicine. Another question that comes up as districts attempt to implement RTI is, does this make districts reduce identification of students who have disabilities too much? So has the pendulum swung from over-identification of students with disabilities to perhaps a model where students are not being identified when perhaps they should be? And again, the last concern is that there is no one model of RTI that exists. Every single school district chooses to implement RTI in a separate manner or can choose to implement RTI in a different model. So some of the recommendations from our group are to use the RTI model with caution, knowing that there is a severe lack of empirically validated research behind it. Keep in mind that RTI is a model and a framework and not necessarily a prescription for student improvement. And be sure to read what literature there is on RTI. So with that, I will turn the presentation and the concluding remarks back over to the work members and work group members that are still in the classroom with you.